Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we're going to be looking at some reprints. Now, we don't have all the information, but I think we have enough information to look at some cards which we know are coming in the upcoming Champion Road expansion and make some predictions as to what they're going to look like when they come here. Now, Champion Road is one of the two Sun and Moon 6 Plus sets. So in Japan, they are getting Dragon Storm. We've done a video about all the cards coming in that. Although we don't have clear images, we've done videos on the ones we do have clear images of, but we have shown the set list for that in its entirety. So we don't actually know when these are coming out. If Champion Road and Dragon Storm are both in our Sun and Moon 7 set in August, that is going to be a gigantic set. So maybe one of these is going to be their own special little set. We don't know. What we do know is that the Champion Road booster box has been revealed, and we know 3 of the cards which are going to be coming out in the set, and the artwork, which is exactly the same, well, slightly updated, but the exact same image as we saw on some old cards. So let's have a look at those old cards, try and predict roughly what they'll look like when they come out over here, and see what they would be like if they did. And shout out to Poker Lemon over on Twitter, who did go and tweet this image out. So, first of all, let's just look at the 3 cards we've got, and then let's look at the side of the booster box. You can see here, the artwork is the same. So, clearly, we are getting semi-reprints, although these cards are very old. So they're not going to come over in the exact same way. They're going to have more HP. They're going to do a bit of damage. They're going to be a little bit different. But why would you use the exact same art if they weren't going to be near enough reprints? The answer is you wouldn't. So first of all, Lanturn, which originally came out in EX Hidden Legends. This had a really nice ability. Once during your opponent's turn, whenever your Pokemon is knocked out by your opponent's attacks, you may choose a basic energy card from the knocked out Pokemon and attach it to Lanturn. I.e., the ability was an EXP share. Like, exactly an EXP share, which is still in the format at the moment. Difference is EXP share can be discarded with Field Blower. This ability cannot be discarded by Field Blower. Plus, this is likely to come out around about August. Just after that happens, Garbodor is going to be rotated, and we are not going to have any way to turn off this ability. We're going to have Glaceon, but that only works against EXs and GXs. We're going to have Alola Muck, but that only works against basic Pokemon. This ability will stay around. That is going to be very handy indeed. And of course, there's nothing to stop you combining this with EXP share to get 2 energy off a discarded Pokemon. Now, of course, 80 HP is way too low here. Like I said, all these Pokemon are going to need a bit of a boost to their HP. And judging by the Lanturn from Sun and Moon, you can expect it to have around 110 HP. I love the ability, and it is only a stage 1. The attack, 50 damage. You can discard all lightning energy if you want. If so, it does 90 rather than 50. Interestingly enough, that would, with any kind of damage amplification like a Choice Band, already be enough to KO something like a Ho-Oh GX. But we're not going to have 50 for free energy. 50 for free energy was alright in the EX days. This is the old EXs, not the more recent ones. There is absolutely no way this is going to fly. It's going to be a much more powerful attack, maybe even for a lower energy cost. Although do remember, of course, that we're going to have Magnezone at that stage. Now, at the moment, Magnezone is only a lightning Pokemon, but we are getting a reprint of Magnezone, which has this same ability for lightning Pokemon. And actually, until that one comes out, we've got the Magnezone from Breakthrough, which already has the same ability for lightning Pokemon. Needless to say, we're going to be okay. So we're going to be able to attach energy in that way. Will it be good enough? I don't exactly know, but I do like the idea that you've got EXP share as an ability and potentially a decent attack that gets amplified if you discard the energy. Next up, we have what looks to be a reprint, pretty much, of the Ludicolo from EX Deoxys. And this is the one that I really think could be absolutely stunning, although to be fair, Lanturn is the worst of the 3. Ludicolo's ability, draw a card. Just draw a card. Now, back in the day when it was Poker Power, you could only use it if they weren't affected by a special condition. Obviously, abilities can, so just ignore that. But just draw a card. Now, to be fair, we've got a Pokemon that's got that ability at the moment. It's a Alolan Sandslash, the one from Guardians Rising. That doesn't see much play, even though it's a Stage 1, not a Stage 2. But this kind of ability is very simple. If you're going to play the Pokemon anyway, you use it. If you're not, then you don't play it for the ability. So it's a great ability, but only if you're playing the Pokemon anyway. Now, this Ludicolo had 2 attacks. One was okay. 30 damage. Discard as many cards from your hand as you like. Remove that many damage counters from Ludicolo. Now, back then, Ludicolo only had 100 HP, which was, shall we say, a little bit low. Although, obviously, we expected to see a bump in HP when this one actually comes out. The most recent Ludicolo we actually had was from Primal Clash and had 130 HP. There were 2 in Primal Clash. They both had 130 HP, but nowadays Stage 2s tend to have more around 150, 160, so we might end up with even more than the 130 we had last time. Healing's alright, but this is not the kind of attack that makes waves. But the second attack, oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly the kind of attack which makes waves. This attack does 10 damage for each Pokemon in play, excluding Ludicolo. Little bit weird, it doesn't tend to have that anymore. It just does 120 for all the Pokemon in play. Although, to be honest, nowadays it would probably be 20 times. A Pokemon that does 20 damage for each Pokemon in play, this sounds more like it. Now, this whole Pokemon just sounds like the Empoleon from Dark Explorers, ability that draws cards, attack that does 10 damage for each Pokemon in play, very similar to Empoleon. But of course, we got the Empoleon from Ultra Prism that does 20 damage, but only times the bench Pokemon. And of course, we've got Zoroark, which is 20 damage for all of your Pokemon in play. And let's not forget our old friend Jumpluff, that did also do 10 damage for each Pokemon in play, but that was back in the Heart Gold Soul Silver era. Nowadays, we do expect a little bit more power from our attacks. So to be perfectly honest with you, this Ludicolo is really one to look out for. An ability that draws cards? Good. An attack that heals? Meh. An attack that potentially does a huge amount of damage on a non-GX? Brilliant. As a side note, we don't expect these to be GXs. We do expect to get Dragonite and Articuno GX, as I said about in a previous video, link in the description. But the artwork there is being reused from EXs, so as far as I'm concerned, if they're reusing the artwork from EXs, expect GXs. If they use the artwork from non-EXs, expect non-GXs. And then we get to Sableye, a basic Pokemon that if it has the same ability again, we can expect it to be really, really widely played. It's a very good card. Once during your turn, look at the top card of your deck, and either you put it on top of your deck, or you discard it. Yeah. If you're really drawing nothing, you look at the top card of your deck, and you find out it's a basic energy. We don't want that, ladies and gentlemen, because that's how we lose the game. Because we don't draw anything and we lose. So you discard it, and it makes it more likely that your top deck next turn will in fact be something like a Professor Sycamore. But if you look at your top deck and it is a Professor Sycamore next turn, you leave it there. It makes it more likely you're going to draw what you want to. That's really good. But also, there's a whole bunch of decks that want to discard cards. So maybe you're playing an Empoleon deck, you find a water energy on top of your deck, you discard it, and in comes Aqua Patch to attach it to a bench Pokemon. It's a nice way of discarding. Not to mention, in Expanded, we got a whole bunch of cards like Vespiquen, which will adore this. Look at the top card of your deck. If it's a Pokemon, you discard it, and now Be Revenge does a whole bunch of extra damage. I know not every deck is going to want this, because you don't actually draw any cards. You just look at the top deck and you either take it or discard it. Take it the next turn, not take it immediately. But that's fine. It's really useful in a whole bunch of decks. It's a basic Pokemon that at least until it gets rotated in September, we can grab with Bridget. I really like Sableye, and I'm sure this will see play if we get roughly the same reprint. As for Ludicolo, It's a stage 2 which puts me off, but we could have a useful ability and a great attack, along with an okay attack. And as for Lanturn, Lanturn's the weakest of the 3, but if it does enough damage, along with the EXP share ability, I could see it being pretty gosh darn nice. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for you guys to give me some predictions here. Get them down in the comment section. Do you think we're getting these cards pretty much exactly reprinted, or is the artwork just a coincidence? I would be stunned if that happened. Assuming we're getting reprints and knowing that they're going to have to change a bit because it's been many, many years, it's been over 10 years since these cards came out, tell me how you think they're going to look when they come out. Go nuts! But be nice. Oh, and let me know which of the 3 you're most excited for. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWossy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc., then head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. And do check out Wossy Plays for some Dragon Ball Super and video game videos. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.